What would you do if the person you love most suddenly vanished without a trace? In this gripping story, CEO Quang's world shatters when he learns that his beloved fiancée, Linda, is missing. While he races against time to find her, Linda is held captive deep in the forest by her obsessed ex-husband, chained and terrified. Every second counts. Will Quang reach her before it's too late? Watch until the end to witness a desperate rescue filled with danger and emotion. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more thrilling stories like this. Now, let's dive into the full story. The morning sky was painted in shades of gray, heavy clouds looming as if warning of an impending storm. CEO Quang was in the middle of a crucial meeting when his phone vibrated incessantly. At first, he ignored it, but when he glanced at the screen and saw that it was his mother calling repeatedly, a strange chill ran down his spine. Something was wrong. His mother would never disturb him like this unless it was serious. He excused himself from the meeting and quickly answered the call. His mother's voice came through the line, trembling with panic and worry. "Quang. Quang. It's your fiancée, Linda. She's missing," she cried, her breath ragged, as if she'd been running. "She didn't come home last night, and no one can reach her. I've tried calling her over and over again. Her phone is off." Quang's heart stopped for a brief second before it pounded violently in his chest. "What? What do you mean she's missing?" "She was supposed to visit you yesterday," he exclaimed, pacing frantically. His mother confirmed, her voice breaking, "She did, but she left in the evening saying she wanted to surprise you, but she never arrived home. Something is wrong, Quang. I can feel it." A suffocating wave of dread consumed him. Linda was not someone who disappeared without a word. She was always careful, thoughtful, especially knowing how protective he was over her safety. The thought that she could be in danger made his blood run cold. Without wasting another second, Quang hung up and barked orders at his assistant to cancel all meetings. His mind was no longer in the world of contracts and deals. His only priority now was Linda. He called her repeatedly. Each ring that led to voicemail deepened his fear. He contacted her friends, her colleagues. No one had seen or heard from her. Desperation clawed at him. What if something terrible had happened? He pushed the thought away, but his gut twisted with unease. Determined not to waste time, Quang contacted the police and gathered a team of private investigators. He gave them every detail he could think of: her usual routes, places she liked, her recent conversations. Meanwhile, his mind raced back to the last time they spoke. She sounded happy, even excited, mentioning that she had a small surprise for him. He clenched his fists. Who would have thought that would be their last conversation before she vanished? Quang's instincts told him this wasn't a random disappearance. Someone had taken her. The question was, who? And why? Back at his family's villa, his mother sat on the couch, holding Linda's scarf that she had accidentally left behind. She wept silently, praying for her safe return. She, too, sensed there was something more sinister at play. Linda was gentle, kind, and never made enemies, but sometimes, fate was cruel even to the innocent. Hours passed, but to Quang, it felt like days. Every minute without news was torture. Then a faint memory flashed in his mind, the shadow of a figure he had once seen following Linda weeks ago, a face from her past that made her visibly uncomfortable whenever she mentioned him, her ex-husband. Quang's eyes narrowed with realization, his jaw tightening with rage. Could it be him? Had that bastard returned to haunt her? Quang grabbed his coat, his determination renewed. He swore under his breath, "Linda, wherever you are, hold on. I'm coming for you." Outside, the wind howled, and the first drops of rain began to fall, but nothing could stop him. Deep in the heart of the forest, where the sun barely touched the ground and the air was thick with dampness and decay, Linda lay slumped against the rough wooden wall of a dilapidated shack. Her ankle was shackled to a heavy iron chain, its cold bite cutting into her skin every time she shifted. She had tried for hours to free herself, using stones and sticks, even her bare hands until her nails broke and her fingers bled, but the chain was unyielding. Exhausted, she could do nothing but sob quietly, her tears falling onto the dirt floor beneath her. Suddenly, the door burst open with a loud crash, making her flinch. The man she dreaded most stood in the doorway, her ex-husband, the ghost from her past she thought she had escaped forever. His face was twisted in fury, his eyes wild with frustration. "Trying to escape again, aren't you?" he snarled, striding toward her. He grabbed her by the arm, yanking her up violently, forcing her to face him. "Why are you doing this?" Linda cried, her voice hoarse from screaming for help that never came. "You have no right, let me go." But her pleas only seemed to inflame him further. "You should have stayed with me," he barked, his grip tightening. "You were mine, Linda. I gave you everything, but you threw it all away. Now you're parading around with that CEO, pretending you found happiness. No. If I can't have you, no one will." Linda's heart pounded in terror. She tried to pull away, but the chain restrained her. "I don't love you. I never did after what you did to me. You lied, you hurt me, you destroyed everything," she shouted, her body trembling with a mix of fear and defiance. His expression darkened. "I tried to talk to you. I tried to make you see reason. But you forced me to do this, Linda." His voice lowered to a dangerous whisper, "Now you'll stay here until you understand you belong to me." He pushed her back to the ground, his eyes glinting with a deranged obsession. Linda sobbed, her strength waning. She had to find a way out, or she wouldn't survive. Every second here felt like a death sentence. She looked around the shack, rotting wood, rusted tools, debris, but nothing that could break the chain. "Please," she whispered, her voice cracking. please let me go. I beg you. I'm getting married. I love Quang. He's the one I want to be with. Her tears blurred her vision, but she forced herself to meet his gaze, hoping to find a flicker of mercy. But there was none. Only madness and possessiveness stared back at her. You still think that bastard will come for you, he sneered. No one knows where you are. Out here, you're mine. The forest will keep you. Linda collapsed into herself, her body shaking from despair. But deep inside, a spark of hope refused to die. She thought of Quang, his smile, his warm embrace, the way he always called her my Linda as if she was his whole world. She couldn't give up. He would come for her. She knew it. She just had to hold on a little longer. Outside, the wind carried faint sounds, the chirping of birds, the rustle of leaves, but Linda listened for something else, something she prayed to hear, the sound of footsteps, of someone calling her name. But for now, there was only the cruel laughter of the man who kept her captive, echoing through the cold wooden walls as night began to fall over the forest. As darkness crept deeper into the forest, the air grew colder, heavier. Linda lay on the dusty floor, her body weak, her spirit fraying at the edges, but her mind clung desperately to one fragile hope, Quang. She had whispered his name like a prayer, as if somehow, by sheer will, he might hear her across the distance. She had to believe that he was looking for her, that he hadn't given up. Far away, beyond the shadows of the trees, Quang was driving through winding roads, his hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles turned white. He had traced every clue, every piece of information the investigators had gathered, and one name kept surfacing: Linda's ex-husband. The man was dangerous, obsessive, and had a history of violence that Linda had once tearfully confessed to him during a vulnerable night. Quang cursed himself for not doing more to protect her from this ghost of her past. As rain began to drizzle, the narrow road became slick and treacherous, but Quang didn't slow down. He refused to waste another second. He had received a tip from an old villager who'd seen a stranger dragging a woman toward an abandoned cabin deep within the forest. Quang's gut screamed that it had to be Linda. He couldn't bear the thought of what she might be enduring while he searched helplessly. Finally, the car could go no further. Quang leapt out, the rain soaking through his clothes almost instantly, but he didn't care. With a flashlight in hand and a burning resolve in his heart, he plunged into the forest on foot, his voice breaking the silence. "Linda! Linda, where are you? Answer me!" Back in the shack, Linda stirred. She thought she heard something faint, distant, like a voice carried by the wind. Her heart surged, but she feared it was only her mind playing cruel tricks on her. Still, she pushed herself up, ignoring the ache in her limbs. She shouted with every ounce of strength she had left. "Quang! I'm here! I'm here!" The ex-husband, who had been dozing in a corner, shot up, eyes wide with fury. "Shut up!" he roared, rushing at her, his hands reaching to cover her mouth. But Linda fought back with a desperation she didn't know she possessed, kicking and screaming. She wasn't going to be silenced, not when rescue was so close. Outside, Quang froze. He heard it. A faint cry. A voice he knew better than his own heartbeat. "Linda," he shouted again, running toward the sound, stumbling over roots and rocks. His flashlight beam flickered through the darkness until he saw the outline of a decrepit cabin. Without hesitation, he charged forward, slamming the door open. The scene inside made his blood boil. Linda on the floor, chained, her clothes torn and her face streaked with tears, and that man, her captor, standing over her, hand raised to strike. "Get away from her!" Quang roared. The ex-husband turned, startled, but Quang was already on him, tackling him to the ground. The two men struggled, fists flying, but Quang's rage was unstoppable. With every punch, he thought of Linda's suffering, her tears, her fear, and he didn't stop until the man lay motionless, groaning in pain. Breathing hard, Quang rushed to Linda's side. "I'm here, Linda." "I'm here," he whispered, his hands trembling as he tried to break her chain. She collapsed into his arms, sobbing uncontrollably. "I knew you'd come," she whispered through her tears. "I knew you'd find me." Moments later, the flashing lights of police cars pierced the darkness. Quang had called them before entering the forest, just in case. Officers stormed the cabin, cuffing the defeated ex-husband and dragging him away, his eyes still burning with hatred but powerless at last. Quang cradled Linda gently, his voice soft but firm. "You're safe now. I've got you. He'll never hurt you again." And as the rain continued to fall, Quang carried her out of that nightmare, each step a promise that he would never let her out of his sight again.